Well, what's up? Welcome in. Hoge and Jahns with you inside Lambeau Field with a very familiar result. The Bears lose. I know it's shocking. Aaron Rodgers beats the Bears. Welcome in. Jahnsy again, not with us tonight. Kevin Fishbain is here. If you're watching us on YouTube, on the YouTube channel, as you should be, you can see Kevin sitting here. I think that was Jeff Joniak's seat tonight. Looking over the same.
Hey, Jeff got some fun calls tonight.
Parts of this game were very entertaining. Absolutely.
This was probably the most entertaining Bears-Packers game, and you could argue that some of the really bad ones have been entertaining in like a joking way, but this might have been the most entertaining Bears-Packers game in which the Bears actually did some good things since they beat the Packers in 2018.
Yes. Sure. I'm trying to think though, what did the Bears really do that was so good tonight?
Well, their special teams was great, and as a special teams guy, you should, acknowledge that.
The punt return was amazing. It was a risky decision. Good cut back to the other side, and some really, really, really good blocks. Shout out to Christian Jones, Damian Williams, and Jordan Lucas for the blocks.
Jordan Lucas, not on the Bears.
Not on the Bears. Who was it that had the...
Marquis Christian.
No, it was 23.
Marquis Christian.
Oh, yeah. See, this is where we're at, guys. You don't even know who the players are who are on the team. You're right.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to Jordan Lucas?
Got cut.
Like back in August.
Long time ago.
Yeah, I know. Well, hey, here we are.
This is where we're at.
The Bears are 4-9. They had Eddie Jackson playing slot corner by the end of the game. He was like the third slot corner, I think the sixth on the year.
Charles Snowden made his NFL debut as the 10th outside linebacker the Bears have used this season.
It quickly got hurt.
Yeah. I think Marcus Hunt got a lot of reps on the defensive line. Back to your original thought, I think that there is a way to look at it where you get a punt return touchdown and it's rare to get two explosive touchdowns like that in the same game, let alone the same quarter.
Yeah.
So I think there's an argument to be made that maybe the Bears, if they step back, might not have felt as good as they did in halftime. Understand they were kind of dealing with a little, playing with fire, pretty much. See,
my problem with the good vibes at halftime was 27-21. The Bears were winning. It seemed like the Packers were right there. And before you knew it, it was 28-27. And I think I even tweeted at the time, like, if you're the Packers, you feel like you have played horribly in this game. And yet they're winning.
I think from a Bears perspective, I understand why they felt so good at halftime. I mean, think about everything they've gone through this year. And for them to have those 3 touchdowns, for them to get a score right before halftime, I mean, how many times this season have they failed to do that? To go up 6 on the road, you can see where they could look at that and say, okay, we're doing something good. They also forced the Packers to punt 3 times in the first half.
Yeah.
So, you can see with everything going on this season and everything against them, I get why they were energized with what was going on. But they had to know what was coming. And it was a freight train that came right at them. It took a minute. Yeah,
and you heard them basically admit post-game they knew what was coming. And it was Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers, his numbers by the end of the night were amazing. And he's like, oh, my toe hurts again. Again, I love how this guy makes such a big deal out of a pinky toe, but it's great drama, I guess, here in Green Bay. Give him all the credit in the world for the pinky toe. Look, I mean, I don't really know where we go with this. I mean, there's the big picture. It's the same thing. I guess my take is I'm not really here to give the Bears credit for anything.
No, I think you can. I don't buy the idea that Matt Nagy was trying to sell, which is we saw what we could be.
Yeah.
What the Bears could be is not 3 46+ yard touchdowns in a quarter. Right? Like that, nobody can do that.
I guess that's my point, is the Packers were horrible on special teams. Like, yes, I'll give them credit for the touchdown. The Bears deserve credit. They were doing the good things, but like the Packers were downright awful. They fielded, they muffed a kickoff return that was going out of bounds. Like some of the things that they were doing was so bad.
Well,
and then like the one thing I will give them credit for offensively was the end around to Jakeem Grant. That was a well-designed play, blocked up great. And that was a legit offensive play. When you heard Justin Fields, though, talk about the throw to Damiere Byrd that was a touchdown, even he was like, I was surprised by that. I don't think that play, it was an option route, and it wasn't drawn up to be a touchdown. Like the Packers played that very horribly for it to become a touchdown.
And if you have those 2 touchdowns on offense, right? There was a great throw from Fields to Darnell Mooney while Fields got just hit right in the ribs, right? You had a Dave Montgomery 20-yard run. Can you name a single other play from the offense in the first half?
Not really.
No, like they weren't.
Yeah.
Yeah, those 2 touchdown drives were like these crazy explosive plays that, again, you give the Bears credit for getting them, but that's not who the Bears are. And that's not who the Bears expected to be. Those are, I don't want to call them fluky. But
they seem kind of fluky.
Yeah, but they're rare. They're flash in the pan stuff.
Yeah.
And I think, again, like in a vacuum, be happy that you're beating the Packers on the road at halftime. Like that's fine. It's okay to be energized by 3 touchdowns like that and to see your defense having some success. But in the end, I thought about it this way too. What would have changed your perspective of this team and where it's going? An actual win might have at least given you for the moment, they pulled something off that we never thought they could.
Yeah. But
it wouldn't have really changed the rest of the season where this thing is going unless they won every game. And I think if they came out here and lost 45-3, that would have led to some conversations of could something happen Monday morning. The way they lost this one, it was, again, we're kind of stuck here being like, well, and the result was, in the end, the Bears, if I told you before kickoff, the Bears are going to lose by 15 points, you probably said, that sounds about right. That sounds like something that would happen. If I told you the Bears scored 30 points and lost by 15 points, I'm like, wow, I guess they did a couple good things.
But see, I think what my point is, they had all those fluky plays. They still lost by 15 points.
Yep. And they were still...
so what would they have lost by if the Packers had not played those plays so poorly?
I'm not sure I can find this, but I would like to know if a team had 3 touchdowns like that in a half. Find every time that's happened and what the score was at halftime. Because I would imagine for a team to do what the Bears did in the first half and only be up by 6 is unique.
Right.
And I didn't get a chance to ask Matt Nagy this. I kind of asked Jakeem Grant, but just like, Matt Nagy's message was we have to finish. So he did understand it. His message was we have to play this way in the third and fourth quarter. We have to finish. But could they really have been confident at halftime? Again, you can feel happy about where you're at, but could you really feel like there was no way they could feel like they had this game?
No, and look, I'll tell you exactly what I'm talking about because I was looking this up the other day, the 2014 game where the Packers scored 4 touchdowns in the second quarter. They were winning 42-0 at halftime, right? Okay, so in that second quarter, again, I don't have the numbers right in front of me right now, but they had all 4 of those touchdowns. 3 of them was one was like a 70-yarder, one was like a 50-yarder, one was like a 30-yarder, and one was like an 18-yarder. Okay, so the Bears' second quarter, they had a 46-yard touchdown pass. They have a 54-yard touchdown pass and a 97-yard punt return, the longest punt return the Bears have ever had in franchise history. They also tack on a field goal at the buzzer. So I guess my point is it's kind of what you said. They did all that stuff and they were only up 6. So what I'm trying to say, I guess, is a good team would have been up 42-0 like what the Packers were in 2014. Or think back to Tampa this year.
Right.
Tampa's doing all that stuff in the first half. It's a blowout. The game's over. You're only up 6 and Aaron Rodgers is on the other team. No one's feeling confident about the Bears winning the game. So all that happens, they still lose by 15, which brings me to some of these coaching decisions then. So in that first quarter, Matt Nagy punts from the 40, the Packers 40 on the first drive, and then settles for a field goal from the 5-yard line when you're a 12.5-point dog on the road with basically your job on the line. So I guess it's not surprising that in a 2-score game early in the fourth quarter, I think it was 11 points at that time, it's 4th and inches at your own 36. You're backed up a little, but you gave Aaron Rodgers the ball at that point. With all the injuries we've been talking about on defense, you got Eddie Jackson playing in the slot. He's never even really played there. They're literally like trying to help him on every single play. You punt the ball? Isn't that hard to fathom?
Yeah, I've always been a believer of, in a team in the situation the Bears are in, what do you have to lose? Why? And, I said this on our podcast during the week, right? This is a kitchen sink game. And we saw that.
Saw some of that, yeah.
We saw some of those plays on offense. One worked, a couple others were eh. But you could see the way they were rotating personnel. Same on defense too in the first half. They were throwing everything they could at this Packers team, and we're still only up 6 at halftime. So part of that, you would think, is being just ultra aggressive on these opportunities because, and I said it after they kicked the field goal to go up 3-0. You're not beating the Packers with field goals. You're just not.
No.
You have to, you have to find a way to score a touchdown there. And look, if you don't, then you're asking, Rodgers got to go 95 yards, Also, what does a 3-point lead do for you against the Packers?
That's what I don't understand.
It doesn't do a lot for you, and it's just there is an inconsistency with this staff in terms of when to be aggressive. That was Matt Nagy's whole MO when he got here, and you asked him a question when it came to what happened in the second half of the problem, the guys they were missing on defense kind of factored in, and it certainly seemed to, and I just.
But no, obviously it didn't because he still punted the ball.
Yeah, but I was confused by that too because you would think that it's we don't have a lot of guys on defense, so we don't want to give him a short field. But it's Aaron Rodgers. It doesn't matter where he gets the ball.
No, you don't. Yeah, that was the thing.
Yeah.
You couldn't give them the ball.
Yeah.
And the only option to not give them the ball was to go for it on 4th down and get it, and it was 4th and inches.
And I've always said this about football. If you can't get a few inches to get a first down. When you need to. That's all you need to know about a team. And we all know how bad this team's been under Matt Nagy when it comes to those 4th and short. So I'm with you on those coaching calls. Here's one thing that Twitter got very mad at was the field goal when they were down 18.
Oh, yeah. That was actually the right call.
You have to score 3 times.
Yeah.
I get it. You needed to get a field goal at some point. So
that was one of those moments where it's technically this is the right call, but it also feels wrong.
Yeah, it felt wrong. I understand everyone's piling on Nagy and whatever, but that one, that doesn't bother me.
No, on the list of questionable things, that was not.
And you know what? I'll say this. It doesn't bother me that Matt Nagy said that this was a fun game, that he was having fun at halftime.
Yeah, I think the optics of it, though, I don't have a problem with him saying it, but here's the optics that just go wrong. And I don't know what Michelle Tafoya's halftime report was for Matt LaFleur. I should probably find that out. But LaFleur's probably not happy. And so the way it comes off on the broadcast is we got to figure out a way to get Devontae Adams to football. And then they go out and they do that. And Jalen Johnson did a great job of breaking it down, how they did that. They put him in motion. There was basically this long sweep pass where he goes from the left side of the formation to the right, which if you're going to have the corner trail across the field, it's impossible to stop him from getting the ball on that. It's basically, a short swing pass. So there's one example. They lined him up in the slot over and over again, and Jalen was honest about how he can't play in the slot right now because he doesn't know all the run fits and he doesn't know all the zone drops. There's a lot to know there in the nickel spot. So anyway, Matt LaFleur's busy making all these adjustments and they work, and Matt Nagy's having fun.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I don't have a problem with him saying that. He should have been having fun. The second quarter was fun, but it just didn't look good.
No, I get it. And I understand where, I hate using, this phrase is now ingrained in my head because of Matt Nagy. I understand where everyone's at with the head coach. I get it. But guess what?
It's where we're at.
As somebody who covers this team, and has covered this team for a while, that first half was fun to watch.
Yeah.
It was fun football. And that's fine. That's okay. And I mean, I remember going back to, remember when they played the Chiefs in late in 2019? They'd been eliminated from the playoffs the week before here in Lambeau.
Yeah, when Patrick Mahomes
counted to...
What number was it again? 10.
Yeah. But that game was so boring, and they didn't do anything fun, and they didn't try anything fun, and they lost 26-3, and we're thinking afterwards, do something, do something interesting. And again, for the first half, they did. And going back to, I'll say this about the flukiness. All right, third quarter, you go 3 and out twice. The Packers score 17 points. Okay, getting shut out 17-0 in a quarter is rare, right? But that was so much more the 2021 Bears than what happened in the second quarter. That's who they've been all season long, is a team that just can spiral like that. And you mentioned the Packers with Devontae Adams, and I don't know how much the Bears could have done to counter, considering everybody they were missing, and doing that on the play. But it wasn't even just that. A.J. Dillon ran all over that front seven on that first drive. I mean, 5-yard run, 11-yard run, 12-yard run, and they had no answer for him. Then and then you just see the Packers with these just creative plays. You see that play action when Rodgers fakes the handoff and just kind of stands there for a second.
Yeah,
and nobody's
really
near
good
him,
fake.
And then
good fake.
Gets the complete pass. Again, I understand it's Rodgers, and it's hard. You want to be careful not to compare it to I think the most talented quarterback who's ever played this game.
Mm-hmm.
But it just was another example of how far away this franchise is.
And he also threw a pick six just in that second quarter. That, I guess is where I'm just struggling with, congrats on a few big plays.
Right.
You still had a pick six. You still gave up a 38-yard touchdown pass to Devontae Adams. It was a fun second quarter. I don't think it was a great second quarter.
No, it wasn't. And we're at the point in the season, right, where it's what can you take from this game moving forward, big picture.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you take from this game, really, as in terms of example. Justin Fields did not have this great game.
I take that it's a miracle Justin Fields is playing against the Vikings a week from now.
I think we got a reminder about his toughness. We got a reminder that what he can do with his legs and his arm, he does have those abilities are there. We got the reminders of that. I think we got a reminder that Jalen Johnson could be a special player in this league. And Robert Quinn's having a great season. But what all that means for the future of this team, what all this means for 2022, you didn't, there was really nothing, Damiere Byrd's not going to be on this team next year.
No, there's a lot of guys. Jakeem Grant might not be.
I think Jakeem Grant, if you want to go ahead and talk about, hey, this was a good move and somebody that you should try to keep, you can have that conversation. But in the end, we're talking about a guy who's going to maybe have 3 great plays in a season.
If you watch Jakeem Grant's press conference, I'm not sure the Bears lost the game. It seemed like they won.
It's interesting that, I went to my Bears player Twitter, and it's all the Jakeem Grant stuff. It's funny, Khalil Mack's Twitter account during the game.
Yeah.
He was very excited.
He was live tweeting.
He had 7 tweets in a row. And then at 8:42 p.m., that was it.
Then he shut it off.
No more tweets from Khalil after that, because what was he going to say?
Probably a good idea. All right. Well, yeah. Let's maybe end on Justin Fields. So, let me just say this. If your takeaway from tonight, or you're going to bed, or you're probably watching this tomorrow by now, but you're waking up on Monday morning and you're worried about Justin Fields because I saw some of that. Not everybody's loving what they're seeing right now. Just let's point out, he came on the road. He said he was 90%. That seems generous when he says he had pain on every single throw.
When you say you're at 90%, you're probably at 70.
Yes. And I actually thought during the game that he did not quite have that same zip on the football he usually does. That followed through. Obviously, he was in pain. He said it affected his mindset, trying to stay protected. As it was, he still got hit the entire game.
9 times.
Pressured on 54% of his dropbacks. 2 rookie tackles. one of which did not play well at all. Tevin Jenkins, that Jason Peters injury early in the game turned out to be a massive development in the football game because Justin was just like running for his life the whole game.
I kind of remember, I hate to cut you off, I kind of remember a certain somebody on a certain podcast explaining that as much as we want to see Tevin Jenkins, Jason Peters being out there helps Justin Fields a lot.
A lot.
And if you're focused on Justin Fields, you want Jason Peters out there as much as possible.
And you saw what it looks like without Jason Peters. So what was his injury again? Ankle? His ankle got rolled up. Did not look good.
So, he knew right away.
Yeah.
He's played in this game long enough to know, and he walked straight to the sideline, gave somebody his helmet. That was it. So
you wanted to see Tevin Jenkins. I think you're going to see more of Tevin Jenkins. And look, here's the thing. Like, he probably should play, probably should get reps, but he's 4 penalties? I think he had 4 penalties. He gives up the strip sack. That was a huge play in the game because you have a 6-point lead at halftime. The Bears ran 2 offensive plays before they were down 8. Think about that. Like, that swing happened, and in that time, the Bears ran 2 offensive plays. So all of a sudden, and you know how Nagy is and this coaching staff, as soon as they're down 8.
David Montgomery doesn't exist.
David Montgomery, bye-bye. He gets 1 carry the rest of the game. Now, they did get him some catches on some short things that they'll probably claim as an extension of the run game, but, that can't happen again.
Yeah.
But it will.
I think when you go back to Justin Fields, as we try to evaluate him, I think the second half reminded you, he's got 2 rookie tackles, and it's not like the interior of the line played well tonight either.
Yeah.
And the Packers had 8 passes broken up. That's a lot. And that tells you that guys aren't getting open. And we've talked, obviously, about the route combinations and the way that this offense doesn't really scheme guys open very much. And that was seen in the way the Packers getting their hands on the football. You have a defense that is putting more pressure on the quarterback with the way they were giving up drives and giving up touchdowns. All these things are going against Justin Fields. Now, you can argue a great quarterback lifts everybody up and finds a way to, outplay all those things around him. But this guy's in his first ever season in the NFL, and all these things happen. And he's playing with a ribs injury. He is sore on every single throw he makes. So again, it's not so much. I don't want to call these excuses. I think we just have to keep all of those particulars in mind when we look at what Justin Fields is doing right now.
And unfortunately, you come back to the lack of depth on the O-line, the lack of depth in the secondary. I mean, they were the 2 biggest areas of concern coming into the season. And here you are.
I looked at the field when they were on defense, and A. Jackson was playing nickel. Deion Bush was playing safety. Marcus Hunt was on the defensive line. Christian Jones was in at inside linebacker. Artie Burns was in at cornerback. I mentioned Charles Snowden's rotating in. I saw Marquis Christian get a snap or 2 on defense. When DeAndre Houston Carson got hurt, you're rotating with Burns and Kindle Vilder.
Did you say Bruce Irvin too?
Bruce Irvin was out there a lot, but I don't know if he did anything necessarily.
No, he didn't. He did not.
This is what Justin Fields has in terms of the defense that's supposed to complement him. They have 3 guys they can rely on: Robert Quinn, Roquan Smith, Jalen Johnson. I think Alec Ogletree's been a nice find for them. Safeties were fine today. I don't have a problem with the way Eddie Jackson played, or Tashawn Gibson. But the Bears are so far away from the Packers. They are so far away, and as long as Aaron Rodgers is here, that's going to continue. And the Bears, Justin Fields has to become a good quarterback for them to, try to even the series up as long as number 12 is on the other side.
All right, well, we got a lot to talk about this week. There's, been some chatter about bigger changes, reports of, structuring front office, all these kinds of things that I'm sure we're going to be talking about a lot in the coming months or so. This was just another Bears-Packers game. This was our reaction, and it was pretty normal if you've been paying attention to these. Any chance there's a change Monday morning?
I was 1 for 1 of my bold predictions from the podcast.
Oh, yeah, Damiere Byrd. You didn't call Damiere Byrd, but you said there was going to be a 20-plus yard touchdown pass.
There were two.
There you go.
So I don't have a bold prediction for Monday morning, but you never say never in this league.
Yeah.
I think I'd be surprised, because here's the thing: if Matt Nagy said he was having fun at halftime, can you imagine how much fun?
Don't say it.
I mean, you know it. Listen, we were sitting in the press box in Minnesota in 2014.
You think Virginia was just
and they
partying
were jumping up and down when they had a long kick return for a touchdown in that game in Minnesota, or like Chris Williams or something. The people who run this team, I'm guarantee you, were thrilled with that first half. They were not thinking about it in the way that you and I discussed it.
That's the problem.
They were not thinking about it like that.
That's the problem.
No. I like to think that they were not looking at it as, ooh. I don't think they were walking down into the locker room to give the coaching staff an extension at halftime. But you know that they enjoyed that first half.
Well, how'd they enjoy getting outscored 24-3 in the second half?
Oh, you just tip your cap to your opponent.
What are you going to do? We've been covering this team long enough that we probably don't expect changes Monday morning. I give up. What are you going to do?
We have 4 games left.
The coach doesn't matter. Like, seriously, I don't know how. It doesn't matter. Like you said, these organizations are just. Look, it's December in Green Bay. It snowed. The grass is perfectly green. Like, it's a metaphor, but it's also reality. There's no brown grass here at Lambeau Field. There's an amazing renovated stadium that's done correctly.
With a lot of cool things around it in the area.
You know what it's called? Title Town. Title Town.
The Bears could call theirs 1985 Town.
Oh, my. You think firing Matt Nagy matters?
They could call it NFL Championship Town. They could have a whole museum about the 1940s.
I'll have to update the records of the chairman and the team president against the Packers, too, since everybody talks about Matt Nagy's record.
It's not good.
It doesn't matter. That's what this episode should be about. It doesn't matter. All right, well, hopefully this podcast mattered at least a little bit. Thank you for filling in all week. We appreciate it.
Shout out to Jahns.
I think he'll be back Tuesday. Will he? Who knows? All right. Follow us on Twitter, @Adam Hoge, @KFishbain, @Adam Jahns. Check out the YouTube channel. YouTube, subscribe, hit that subscription button, Hoge and Jahns. And then, what else we got? ObviousShirts.com. Read us. You should read us. There's things to be written from this stadium tonight. NBCSportsChicago.com for me, TheAthletic.com/Hoge and Jahns. John Greenberg was here. He carpooled with Mark Potash. They should do a podcast on the way home. I would listen to that.
With all due respect, of Mark Potash and John Greenberg.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Let's make this thing happen. All right. Maybe it's a spinoff pod. I don't know. Came up with the idea first.
Time to build the Hoge and Jahns empire.
All right. We're out of here. We'll talk to you Tuesday. See ya.
You, Aaron Rodgers.